High-risk investment. Trading on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Before deciding to trade, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. Market opinions. Any opinions, news, research, analyses, prices, or other information contained on this video is provided as general market commentary and does not constitute investment advice. Master the Markets will not accept liability for any loss or damage, including without limitation to any loss of profit, which may arise directly or indirectly from use of or reliance on such information.
Hello traders, and welcome to our live trading workshop webinar. Now in today's webinar, as we always do in the same format, just for the new beginners, just to give you all an idea, we'll look at live trading potential trades to begin with, okay? Then the second thing also that we'll be looking at is the topic for today. In terms of live trading potential trades I've seen so far, in the morning, me and Gavin were just talking about it. We did take a look at GPUSD trade, which went nice to its target. However, on Brent, on the first position, it didn't actually get to its target. So we're looking at that. We will be analyzing that very shortly as well. We're taking a look at gold also, and many more. So we'll be taking a look at all of that very shortly. In terms of the topic for today, we will be talking about how the leverage actually traps beginners in the market. Okay, so we'll be looking at that. And finally, we will be opening up the floor for Q&A and also the upcoming events, as mainly the ETM Annual Summit. This and more in this session. Traders, those of you joining in new for the first time, Mr. Alpan here, founder of Master the Markets, Illustrious Conference, and the Traders Open Day, and I'm joined in by my really good friend and trader and CEO of Trade Guider, Gavin Holmes. Hi, Gavin.
Joe, how are you?
Yeah, all good, man. Nice and sunny over here, isn't it, in London?
Yeah, it's actually. I'm in Sandbanks down in Poole, in Dorset. So yeah, when you've got really good weather like we've got today, you know, and you're doing a webinar, you just want to get to the beach, right? That's my next job. But no, we've had some good moves in the markets today, and I did a couple of YouTube videos, which I know many of you have, who are listening in on YouTube have viewed. Some of them have been about NVIDIA, the stock, which I'll talk about, because there's a lot of conjecture and a lot of thought about that. I'm going to look at gold. We're going to look at the NASDAQ. And I know Tiru will probably look at crude oil and Brent crude as well, because there's been a lot of movement there as well. The whole purpose of today's event, though, is to talk about leverage. Now, what does that actually mean? Now, I was up late last night and I watched a video, okay, and it was not by Donald Trump, okay, and it was not by Elon Musk. It was a video and it talked about leverage. I'm not going to say, because I'm going to probably send you the link to it. And it was, well, I think I can safely say this. One of the greatest investors of our time is a guy called Warren Buffett. And this video was from his right-hand man. And he talked about the three things that can destroy a man. I'm like, oh, great. This is really bad. What is it? And all I'm going to say to you is one of the things he talked about, he talked about many things in the video, but the one thing he did say was leverage when you're trading. Now, one thing that you get if you open an account is leverage. Now that means you can trade with money that you haven't really got. And it means you can, you know, we'll talk about this with Tiru and myself today about leverage. Now, we're going to talk about charts. That's important. I think that's vital. I listened to a video I did in 2019, it was, prior to the COVID-19 situation at the London Banking Hall, and I repeated that. And it was done with it's backed by Active Trades, who are a broker. But I listened to that video and I thought to myself, my goodness, nothing's actually changed other than we all went through it. So what we'll do today, and I'm sure Tiru will go through this with you, is some of the rules that we look at. I'm going to show you the volume spread analysis charts. I'm going to show you the SMI indicators backing it all up, which is what I did. Well, I've done it all morning. I can see it. And then we'll look at certain instruments live. So we're not going to do this in hindsight. And that's what Tiru and I talked about this morning at 9:30 a.m. I mean, you know, I've been up all night. I rang him. I said, what else can we do? And you can show PowerPoints, you can show charts, you can show live trades, you can show anything you want. The most important part is understanding how to read a chart like a professional would. Tiru is a pro. His team are professionals. We do this. And today, we're going to prove it to you. Tiru, over to you.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, so I'm just taking a look at gold and Brent, just now as Gavin was talking about it. I mean, GPUSD had hit our target already over here, but I will talk about that later. Some of the clients who understand this strategy have taken it earlier on as well. So let me just take a look at this one. I'll come to all of that in a minute, but let's just take a look in real time. And I think gold here might be setting up. So I will take a look at this properly here. So we're taking a look at the ATR 44, 80% of that is 35. So this has done about 32. So it's about $3 more to go. If there is, or if it's towards this one ATR number. The OE is very low here. That's what I've mentioned here on our trend alignment tables. I'll do that in a short while. I'll show it to you guys as well. On the 4 hour, what we are having is we're having an uptrend phase 1 over here. And that's your first interruption, isn't it? Is what we're having. So I'm just going to be wary of that, if it's going to sustain its movement or not. And the 1 hour, let's see on this one here. On the 1 hour, it's a downtrend phase 1, very big volume spike over here. I'm just going to go and overlay the VSA trade to win package on here very shortly on the trading view. But let me just quickly analyze the trend and the direction over here. So we got a downtrend phase 1 here on the 1 hour on gold. And on the 15 minutes, what do I have? So I've got a downtrend phase 1 as well. So I've got all of that in place. And then here, what we are taking a look at is, yeah, it's taken out the upper stretch and now it's looking to take out the lower stretch, okay? And that's what we are having at the moment. So I will do that. So lower stretch is what it's looking to both, but latest is lower stretch, okay? So that's what I've got here. All right. And then we'll talk about the topic about leverage, okay? And how leverage actually traps beginners very shortly as well, because that's very important for your risk management, okay? So I'll talk about that very shortly. In terms of the range lines, I've done the analysis on Brent actually, so we can skim through that once I've done that. So let me just take a look at this. So this is 8, isn't it? For the 8 AM one is taken off the up, but then the latest one is towards the bottom is what we got. So let me isn't it? So that's your one there, and that one there. Let me just delete some of this so that we can see it a bit more clearly. Right, so we've got that. Now, after this, we're now taking a look at is the broad-based issues. Look at that latest, but for this 8 to 12 is still NA, isn't it? Latest upper range, 8 AM is what I've got. Both, but latest is down. Broad to ST, let me just quickly to check that. We got about $35 for range, isn't it? This is 22, this is 10. So you can do that on your own strategy as well. So after you put all the parameters, then you can analyze it and see the whole objective is to get a direction bias over here. Okay. Some of you are asking the questions about, where can we find out more about this and some of the terminologies. I'll give you all some reference links shortly. Okay. So over here, what we're looking at is 2 of the time frames is on the uptrend over here, right? But this is very low open equity. So highly probably you can make a top. That's what noted down there. So in terms of that, it's signaling towards a little bit on the downside. So maybe about 3 of them, I would say, signaling to the downside. Plus the bar mechanics here, I've got another one here, 4, but this one not really towards the downside, and this one also not. So to be honest, I'm only getting about 4 out of these 8 parameters, traders, right? It's just signaling towards the downside. So it's a 50-50. It's not really our best setup that we will look at. In fact, yesterday I did mention that and how I reduce the risk when I look at low probability setups. Now, the only thing we can do with low probability setups is we can then get our timing. So the next part after you got your direction bias is timing. So in terms of the timing, what I can do is more confirmation from here in terms of the timing. But before I do all of that, let me also check the volume as well over here on gold. And let me go on to the 15 minutes. So I can put anything really on this framework. And we can use our stats to guide us as well to where to get our target out. Those of you who've been trading this in the morning, you would have seen that that was a nice downtrend phase 1 here. After a little bit of retracement, some of you would have got in around here on the low after the retracement finishes and after a no demand bar as signaled by the trade to win package as well. Okay. After that, you would have used your stats to guide you. So well done on those who took it in the morning. For now, traders, what we are looking at is the VSA, the trade to win package also signaling a red on over here as well. Volume is all spiking up towards this tree over here and then followed by red bars. Just that we got to be careful about the swing bars over here, which is all low test bars. But to overcome that, what we can look at is basically we look at a bit more stronger structural level break. Okay, I think one of the levels we can definitely take a look at is for this low to be taken out. Okay, so if I go back to here, so volume is matching up in here on this bar, but the more critical one I'll be looking at is really for this low of this bar to be taken out. Okay, so that we don't get caught out. And that's also very near the range of the day as well. So I will correlate that on the 15-minute over here. And that is taking out this. So even if we get a bit of retracement, that's good. And then after that, then we can look to take out the low and then go towards our target. Now, in terms of the setup, it's not the ideal setup what we want to be looking at. So we will reduce the risk on this if we were to take it, and I'll push this through the Telegram channel as well. So if I were to do this, traders, our target then will be for $35. So the high 3761. So let me just do that very quickly here. 3761.52 minus 35. That's about 3726. Okay, just a little bit below here. that's where it will make its range. Okay, so that's what we were looking at. Those of you who want to take it a bit more further can also take it to the low of yesterday. Okay, if it does break that. So that's what we will be looking at. So I will actually punch this all into the Telegram channel and push this out. The other thing I'm also looking at after analyzing all of the Brent levels was actually a long on this, right, on the pending order towards the high side over here. But at the moment, that's not coming out as it is. It might do an insider bar, so we're not getting our market to come back up into here to fill us in. Okay, so that's good because that's how the pending order actually protects and preserves our profits. Okay, so that's what we are doing over here. Right, so that's the premise on that one. So what I'll do is I'll still keep an eye on Brent as well. And I might put the pending order just to wait and see. But if it does confirm to the downside at the end of this hour, then we'll cancel that order, okay? So I'll punch that all in, but in terms of Brent, we are looking at more towards the upside. So if I were to do quickly an analysis towards that and punch this all into here, we got the stretch to the upside. Latest we got is to the low range. Is that what we got? Let me see. Yeah, so we got that, and that was the 8 a.m. one. I'll just do this very quickly here. Right, so we got latest lower range, 8 a.m. Right, so then we got that. Bro to ST, what do we have? We have more to the downside, I would say. Let me just quickly just check that. In terms of 80%, that's about 150. Level 120. As I promised, I'll give you all the reference links very shortly. 120 is what I've got. In terms of 120, let me just quickly just check this. It's on 44.30, right? So even if it does 80, I think it's still fine. So NA at the moment, right, in terms of Bro to ST. Some days, traders, when you're not getting a full obvious setup, just sit on your hands, okay? There's no need to take a trade every day. So over here, we got this one as well. NA hasn't taken out the previous daily high or low. I would still say, in terms of 3 time frames, the upside, 4, it's 4 against 4 as well. So not really the best. So we will look at maybe higher technical levels for us to come in to give it more confirmation before we take this on the upside. So I will analyze this. I'll put the pending orders through on Telegram, and then we can take a look through that. The final thing, as you guys are pressing me for it, is actually towards the Telegram channel is the reference links. That's right, I just remember that. So the reference links for you guys to understand the methodology on how we are using both price and volume on this particular setups, right? Both on gold and Brent as well. What you guys can do is first start off with 7 steps to CTP, okay? Over there, you can go through the 7 videos. It will tell you about the entire smart money framework, which was actually based on Richard Wyckoff's principles, but then later quantified by our mentor's mentor, okay, in the 1960s by the quant traders. So that's the smart money framework that we got. Once you put your details in over here, then you will get the videos released to you, and you can watch that at your own free time. Highly recommend it because this is collated over 12-15 years of research. Okay, very, very powerful. You can apply it to any strategy, any instrument, any framework. Okay, and that's what gives us the confidence, actually, for me and Gavin, when we apply both the volume and the price principles onto any instrument and to trade in real time. Okay, and we're going to be doing a lot of that on the annual summit as well. Those of you who've visited all the videos, watched through it, revisited it, sitting on your hands a little bit, you know, I would say take the next leap, get the indicators all onto your chart to have much more confidence when you're reading it as well, right? You can go onto the SMI and VSA page, look through it, and get the indicators onto your charts as well. On the YouTube channel, if you want to go through some of the principles what I talked about in terms of the stretch principle, you can go through it here, okay? This one here on the stretch principle. So you can go through that. That will guide you towards that. Another thing what you got to do, a lot of people tell me and Gavin that, hey, you know what, guys, we subscribe to the channel, but we don't get notifications. So what you got to do, after you hit subscribe, hit the all bell icon. That way you get the notifications when we go live, okay? And anytime you're not able to make the live or anything like that, you can go to the channel, hit on the live section, go to the live section here, and then you can find all the live videos we have done, okay? We don't hide anything here. Any losses, any wins, everything is all here, all recorded here, all on these videos. The main thing what we are really looking to pass on to you is the principles and how you can apply it in your own trading as well, okay? Not giving you the fish, but teaching you how to fish as well, okay? So look through all of them. And the Trade Guider channel as well, youtube.com/Trade Guider. After you hit subscribe, hit the all bell icon. And then you can go on to the live section as well. As you can see, we're going live right now. And that's the video over there. You can revisit as well. Quick shout out to Trade Nation, who's also sponsoring our summit as well. Okay, so you can look through their details. If you want to open up a broker account, you can go through that. Telegram channel has got all the details, and also they're going to be sponsoring the summit as well. So that's great news. And then finally, on the annual summit, this happens once a year, traders. We had a little bit of change of dates because Trade Nation came in and we got a better venue as well. Now we are having it in proper central London in Liverpool Street, and the dinner highly probably is going to be very nearby there in one of those beautiful buildings over there. So all the confirmations are going to come in very soon.
Yeah, Terry,
lunch will be provided.
Terry, sorry to interrupt. Can I confirm that you're cooking the dinner? Right, it's going to be a lovely curry, right?
No, they can be rest assured it's not me cooking. No, that. It's all going to be nicely.
Please don't. Please, if Terry's cooking, don't worry. We're going to McDonald's, and he's told me not to mention that. My wife said, "Don't mention that you're going to get a McDonald's." Well, we might.
Yeah, Gavin, you like your jokes. Anyway,
I love a joke. Yeah, I've been told not to say it, but anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you all. By the way, I know we've had quite a lot of people sign up, and it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, be rest assured, guys. That it's going to be a great event. This happens only once a year, right? So once a year, and it happens towards the end of the year as well. So it's a great opportunity for all of us to energize, get re-inspired, and go into the new year. What we're going to be covering here, it's going to be amazing stuff. So you're going to be live trading on the first day, right? Me and Gavin on price and volume concepts. Then also we're going to be going through the strategies in depth. Plus, we're also going to be releasing the research updates for you all as well that you can incorporate into any strategy. For things like, for example, I talked about in the last session is, for example, when a bar closes above a certain percentage level, what's the probability that it will take out the high, and then what distance will it go even after that? This is a price action based strategy that you can do with so much frequency, and you can combine this principle and this data onto any other strategy as well. And also another thing is that some of the clients that we've joined us and everything, they will be also presenting their results and their research updates as well, which we have guided as well. So it's going to be really amazing. We got some clients who are flying in as well, and some joining us from online too. So it's going to be great stuff here on the 2-day summit. You can read about it all over here as well. Everything is all written over here, and you can see all the things that we're covering over there as well. Okay, so that's what's happening. And we'll give you all the venue and everything very shortly as well. Okay, everybody preferred, I think, a later date, 17 and 18, just 1 week after what we had previously put in. That's on the summit, and that's pretty much that from me. I'm going to punch in those order details for those 2 instruments I'm looking at, and then Gavin will be looking at the other instruments. Gavin, over to you.
Thank you, Terry. Yeah, let me just start off by saying that doing live events, which I've done many all around the world, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, I can keep going. The whole list, Australia. The one thing I learned about meeting people face to face, which unfortunately COVID-19 put a kibosh on that, which is it's very sad, because then suddenly, you couldn't travel, everything shut down. And did it affect our business? No, it actually didn't, fortunately, because of the internet. But did it affect many businesses? It did. And listening to Richard Branson talking about his Virgin Airlines, and Bournemouth Airport is just down the road from me. It's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles. All these airlines had parked their jumbo jets and their 777s. Everything was parked. And I thought to myself, wow, that's really interesting. No one's traveling. No one's going anywhere. But for our business, and I can't speak for Tiru's, but I can certainly say from Tradeharder's business, people were at home and said, I want to learn to trade. So what I'm going to show you today is something that's incredibly important. Now, I've written a third book, which is doing really well at the moment. It's called Think, Link, Create. This is something I'm going to cover at our annual summit, and it's something that's very important. Now, I learned a lot of the information from other people. I can't claim to be the inventor of the information, but I can claim that I've put it into, and you can go and check it, and you just go to, Amazon.com, which is where most of my sales are coming from. And you type in Gavin, Gavin, space D, space HOLMES, like Sherlock Holmes. And, I'm a former police officer. The whole story is there. But what I want to do now is talk about charts. Because the man that taught me to trade was a guy called Tom Williams. And Tom has passed. He passed in 2016. But most importantly, he sat with me for many, many, many hours talking about certain things. Now, ironically, and I say ironically, when I first met Tiru, his name of his company is called Master the Markets. And the book that Tom wrote, which was the second edition, was called Master the Markets. But that was years before we met. And Tiru and I have become very good friends. So I want to show you some information. Certainly the summit, which we decided to produce online, is very important. So what I'm going to show you now is something that's, I'm actually in it right now. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to start off with, and let's just make sure you can all see this. This is Tesla on the 130-minute chart. And this happened here on the earnings report. Can you all see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
Let me see.
Can
I think we can see it. If the
Yep, you should be able to see.
Can see it. If you can type into the chat box, that'd be great.
Yeah, you should all be able to see it. It's a 130-minute, and I know this is being recorded anyway. Okay, so we're going to start with what happened here. I think everyone can see it. Okay, there's an earnings report. Of course there is. There it is. It's a surprise. Well, it's no surprise at all. But the bottom line is it goes sideways and it tests, test, and then you get a massive move up, and you've got all the SMI indicators now showing downward pressure on price, which is true. That's the 130-minute. But you go to a bigger time frame, becomes more interesting. So we go to a weekly chart. Okay, and you see the same thing, a test. And this is completely correct. You've and Turu can explain these to you, but the SMI indicators are brilliant at showing downward pressure, and then VSA confirming what we call a test in a rising market. And I'm now going to show you this in a 1 minute time frame. And this is something Turu and I talked about, and you know, I've talked about this before. We show this live. Now, this, I know there's a lot of traders and educators out there that say, oh, we're going to show you the weekly chart, the monthly chart, you know, that's all great. I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm going to put up the E-mini 1 minute chart, which had it had a VSA indicator here. Now you can go and look at this and you can say, oh, Gavin, that's rubbish. Well, it's actually not. And everything in the smaller time frame turned red. And I'll let Turu explain that, but that's a gotcha bar. That's why it's falling. Now, I can't make this up. It's real. Now, the reason I'm quite staunch about this is, and I think I'm right, is you're going to see what's about to happen. It's about to collapse right in front of your eyes. And I've got alerts. The alert came in there in our trading system. And the SMI indicators confirmed it anyway. But watch what's about to happen. It's about to go down the toilet. Now, how can I possibly know this? Because I've got this system alerting me in TradingView. And I'm using TradingView for one reason and one reason only at the moment. Yes, we support all the other products, but because I get it on my phone. Now, I'm broadcasting from, at the moment, my laptop, but I've got it on my phone. It's all coming up. It's going alert, alert, alert. It's going to go short. It's going to go down. Watch. Okay, you've just had an alert come in TradingView. Just watch it. And Turu and I were talking about this morning. They said, what else can we do? And that's a good point. Nothing. Show it as it happens. Watch what's about to happen. You're going to get a no demand up thrust bar around this level. And it's a 1 minute time frame on the E-mini S&P. And you might say, well, how do you know that is going to fall? It's not no. It's I just look at the chart. And I did a seminar yesterday called The Lost Art of Professional Chart Reading, which I did when I was doing an event at the London Banking Hall. And you can see the SMI indicators here at the top. They pick the top. And if you don't believe it, then just say, it's a load of rubbish. But I'm going to show you it's not. Watch. Watch about it. It's about to happen now. And then Turu and I will talk about it afterwards. He'll say, what else can we do? And I'll say, I don't know. But you watch. And the most important part is the break of the low. And everything has turned red in the smaller time frame. And I'm using a 130 minute time frame. You can use a 1 minute time frame and it would be much quicker. You could do. But I won't be wrong. And I don't care if I am wrong. Because at the end of the day, it's about, we're here talking about risk management. How do we manage risk? Now, you can see the red diamonds, or I call them the dots, but they're diamonds, are turning red in VSA. We can see what the market is doing. everything's alerting me. I've got alerts everywhere. This is short. Now, when Tiru and I work together, we work on a number of things. We don't just work on charts. I mean, you might think that's all we do. Oh, just chart reading. We don't. We teach something much deeper than that. Belief. Watch what's about to happen. This is going right the way down here. Now, if you do it live, which we're going to be doing at our event in London, and I'm very pleased to say that it's been sponsored by Trade Nation. And they're a great company. And I think they've got a lot of things that you can look at. But watch what's about to happen here. Okay, don't take my word. Again, look at the chart. The chart does not lie. Never has done, and it won't do. And that's what Tiru and I talked about this morning at 9:30 a.m. I called him rather early. He's like, oh, this is a bit early, but hey, don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, just quick point on the goal just got triggered and going towards target. It just hit the target, I think. Yes.
Yep. I'm just going to stick with this because I'm in this trade.
Right. But anyway, it's on Telegram anyway. They can see it.
Yeah. That's fine. This is going down the toilet right now. Okay. And this is live. So we can't argue with it. I mean, you've got your no demand here, or the upthrust, sorry, the no demand, I beg your pardon. You've got the confirmation that where's it going? Well, I've got a pretty damn good idea. But watch. And I'll stay with this because I think this is going to collapse. And that's a great word, isn't it? Yeah. I think it's a 1 minute chart. You go, oh, you can't use a 1 minute chart. Yeah, you can. And I am. And I'm right. Now, I don't care if I'm wrong because I'll close the trade, but I know I'm right. It's about to go. And here is your gotcha bar, secondary gotcha bar, a collapse. And now we'll analyze this. Everything's turned red on the small time frame. Now you can adjust this. I've got a 1:30 minute, but you can adjust it. It doesn't make any difference. Watch, see if I'm wrong. And I don't care if I am wrong, actually. And this is a really important point, is you will be wrong. Okay, when I mean that, I mean that in a really nice sense. You will not always make great trades. But once you've nailed it, like I've got here, I'm having a great day. And you're going to watch it. You're going to watch it collapse. And you're going to watch it because everything in the system is telling me, it's alerted me on my phone. I've got 3 smartphones. It's going to go. Has to. And then Tiru and I are talking about this morning. I said, well, what else can we do? And here is the answer. Nothing. We've got this. That is a fact. That's a 1 minute chart. It's collapsed because of the gotcha bars, and everything in the system is turning negative. And this is going to go. Now, I don't know what else to do. And I said to Tiru, I said, we've been working together for some years. And he's asked the same question, which I would ask. What else can you do than show a live chart and everything's doing exactly what you're saying based on VSA and SMI?
Yeah, I mean, gold just hit the target, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm still in this trade. I'm going to put the screen up in a second and show it. But I want to show you where it's going. It's going to collapse any minute. Any minute. Yeah. And Tiru and I, by the way, we've been trading together for some time. I know gold has done what it's going to do, and I'm sure Tiru will show it. But this is the most important lesson I want to teach you today is no demand at the top and then a change in behavior is a very important well, it's an indication of the change in behavior, but it works on a 1 minute time frame. Now, what we would expect to see here is potentially what we call no demand, which is no interest, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to collapse. Now, think, don't think. I wrote a book called Think, Link, Create. And ironically, when I'm trading, the worst thing you can do is think. Watch these next 2 bars, and then I'm going to hand back to Thierry for the gold. Okay, what I can see is an attempt to support the market now at the London fix, close. But here at the top, if we look at the no demand bar, which is there, we look at the SMI indicator, confirmed. We look at the gotcha bar, secondary gotcha bar, and look at what's happened. And that's happened in, I don't know, 15 minutes. Doesn't take long. And that's the other question. Oh, okay, well, if I'm an investor, I probably need to put money in and wait 10 months for my money to come out. No, you don't. Watch. Now, interesting, I'm going to just quickly go to gold, which is what Thierry has talked about there. And then what we'll do, I mean, we can easily do this. We just go to we just go there. I know that where that's going, but then we're going to hand back to Thierry. So, gold. Okay, we're going to go to the futures contract. Now, this is a 15-minute chart. And what I'm going to do is move that to one side. And what we're going to see is the confirmation. Let me just get that scaled up. Okay. Now, I'm going to put up a smaller time frame. And we're going to go to the 1 minute chart. Okay. So, Thierry, what's your thoughts on gold at the moment? And I'll hand the chart back to you so you can have a look at it. But at this moment in time,
we've already taken a trade on it. They gave all the entry details.
Okay, so what I'll do, I'm going to hand the charts back to you for a second, and then I'm just going to. Yeah, the ES is doing exactly what I thought. It's just holding its level, but it's going to go down. So just be aware of that. I'm going to hand the chart back to you, okay? So you've got it.
Yeah, let me just share that screen over here. So traders, you can see that on the gold chart, you can see that on the replay as well later on the levels that we had called out, okay? So the levels that we had on the Telegram channel, if you take a look over here, that was actually 3730, isn't it? As it broke this level over here. That's the level that we were looking at. And then after that, our target was actually at 3726.43 is where we had got out. I mean, 52 is where our target was, 3726.52. And that was the bar, that the last 15-minute bar before this one that came towards the target. Now, what was the premise of this? I gave all the explanation just now, didn't I, traders, right? On the trend alignment tables and the stretch principle, okay? So that's what we were taking a look at. So remember all of this that we were looking at before, right? So all of this premises, right, that we took a look before we took up bias. This is not one of the best setups, not our A setup, but that's why we risk manage accordingly as well, okay? Because it was only 4 against 8. Now, when you don't get most parameters in your favor towards a direction bias, as I mentioned in just now earlier on, then you use timing and a good structural level break to come in. So use price to guide you. So that's what we did over here, okay? And that's why we chose that level of 3730.66 to get in. Those of you a bit more aggressive, you would have got in on a low of that green bar there on the 15-minute time frame. Now, which time frame you're going to enter and the exit, you have to write that all in your rules. Over here, we're just managing it through the 15-minute time frame. Okay, every strategy will have its own objectives and strategy parameters. The second target, as I said, that you can start looking at is 3717.11. Okay, that's the low of yesterday for it to take that out as well. In fact, we're going to be sharing this data over here. When a bar closes near to the low, what's the probability of this bar taking out that low as well? So that's some powerful stats that will show you, because remember that trading is based on probabilities, right, traders? And whether you look at probabilities or not, when you look at your account statements and your strategy performance, they will have recorded it for you anyway, okay? So that's the whole basis. And once you know your numbers and your probabilities, then you'll trade with more conviction and confidence, okay? Because there will be some recurring principles that keep happening again and again in the market. So we'll keep an eye on this, but in terms of the Telegram channel, we've hit our target and we've come out of it. Those of you who are taking a second target on there, that will be the level I'll be looking at, 3717.11. As far as the range is concerned for today, that has done its $35 already and has gone even beyond that. Now, the $44 mark is another $5. If it does another $7 and takes that, that will also hit its 1 ATR mark as well. I believe in terms of its volume support, which is what we also took a look at just now. Remember that we took a look at that as well. We saw good volume spiking over here as well. And then you see, this is confirming that as well, okay, on the 15-minute. When you take a look at it as well, that give you a bit more conviction on where to enter it a bit more earlier as well, okay. The other thing I did want to mention as well, once you got the framework, what we have done over here at Master the Markets with the SMI framework is that we've quantified the tops and the bottoms, okay? Now, once you quantify the tops and bottoms, then you get your trend and phases quantification across all the time frames. So that makes your trend alignment table much more easier to formulate. The other three things that you get also is your open equity data for target setting, the MAE data for stop loss setting, and then finally the time to as well, okay, in terms of for your trailing stop loss setting as well. So you can get all of that once you have quantified what your top and your bottom is, which is what we got here, as you can see, using both the indicators, right, the trade to win and the SMI. You see when the orange dot confirms the top, then we can look at the stats on how far this swing will carry on for. So if I take a look at that, on a click of a button, I can get all the data over here. So if I just put OE over here in just 1 second, instead of years of backtesting you need to do, all this by our clients who got inspired by this work and then joined us is how we got all of this on the TradingView at the moment. In fact, the team is getting more stronger. We are doing it onto different platforms as well and formulating our strategy portfolio too. So you will see that in a minute, and I will show you in terms of ATR. Should I do it in terms of maybe dollars? $1. Let's see how much it does. So you can take a look. So this will give you a rough idea on a phase one trades, okay, which are in alignment with the trend. Once the table gets populated, you'll be able to see how far it can go at the point when it confirms its top, okay. So that's what we will be able to see in a minute or two. Now, in terms of this, in terms of its continuation here, let me just see, let me just load that up one more time. Sometimes it takes a bit of time to just crunch all that data through. Perhaps I can do it on the 1 hour as well if it's a bit more easier. And then I will go on to the topic for today, and then I know we are a little bit above time, so we will start to take a look at that very shortly. Let me see if it does it this time. Maybe I'll do ATR, maybe it's a bit more easier for it to crunch the data. Let me do that. Okay, so there we go. And then if you can do the phase ones, I think if it's taking too long, I think I might do the 1 hour. So as to give you guys an idea, right? So let me just do the 1 hour, maybe it's a bit more easier. Let me do the 1 hour here, and then it will start to populate. Basically, it will tell you, let me see if I can show this to you on another chart here. On the Brent, I mean, Brent was a good example. Let me just see on GBP USD. If I open that up, has it come up over here yet? Still populating that. Let me just delete that. Let me just do this. Good. Let me just do that. Okay, good. So you can see the tables right over here. This was what we were looking at, and that's what really gives all the conviction for most of our clients, VSA and Master the Markets, is when they look at the tables and the probabilities of it running to a certain distance. Okay, so over here, as you can see, I will do it on P1 over here. On gold is taking a bit too long on here, so this one hopefully it will generate it much more quicker. Also, I'll show it to you on a higher time frame. Then we'll go on to the topic for today on leverage, okay, and how it traps actually beginners, right? So let's take a look at this. Now you go, you got the table. So all it tells you is once you get a top confirmation on this bar, from this close of this bar, right? How long will it carry on for? Okay, so here we are taking a look. It's telling you that to get to about 20 pips, that's about 60% chance. Okay, so if I were to do that for P1s, phase ones is what I'm taking a look at, is what it's telling me. If I were to take it to maybe, let's say 15 pips, that's about roughly 66-70% chance. Now you're trading based on probabilities. Okay, now if you wanted to go a bit more longer towards maybe a 20% distance or 30% distance at 50 pips, then you correlate everything, right? So put all the volume on top, put time frame correlation, put your stretch principles, and then when it then clicks in, then you can have the confidence that, you know what, probably this swing will go a bit more further. So that's how you can use all this data here that we have put in together. We'll be going through this much more in detail and also the summit. And also here, the MAE data will tell you about the stop loss, where to place your stop loss, and the time too as well. How long does it take to get to your target, okay? So all of this is under 7 steps to CTP. As I said, once you go through that, you put your contact details, and I'm not a robot, then once you look through that, if you go through the 7 videos, this will go through in much more detail. The main challenge that traders face, tops and bottoms quantification, the 3 stats, OE, MAE, and time to, and then how do you put it all together in a strategy, and then finally the 3 components of a trading system. So highly recommend that. Over 15 years of collated research that we have put this together. Okay, right, now coming on into the topic for today, I will leave this running at the moment. We will take a look at this low to be taken out. We'll see how gold performs. And in terms of the topic for today, so let me see on leverage, wasn't it? How leverage traps beginners, okay? How leverage traps beginners in the market. Firstly, before we get into leverage, we must understand what leverage is it not, traders, right? What is leverage? The best way to understand leverage is when you buy a property, isn't it? So when you buy a property, let's say for $500,000, let's say, right, 500,000 US dollars or pounds, whatever it is, usually most people buy it on leverage, right? So usually what they do, they go to the bank, right, and they put a deposit of 25%, let's say, or 20%, 100,000, let's say, right? And then the rest of the 80%, then they get a loan, okay, which they pay off slowly, okay, with interest rates. Now, why is leverage traps people when you do not understand it? So firstly, we understand that you're putting a small amount in and then to control a bigger asset. Okay, that's point number one. That's what's called leverage, and it's from the word lever, is it? Lever, right? Use a lever to lift the heavy object, isn't it? So that's the whole premise of this, okay, leverage. So it's good that with a small amount of money that you've bought a bigger size asset class, and that means also when this goes up to, let's say, 800,000, then you can then sell that off, isn't it? But using 100,000 to manage a 500,000 pound property, and then when it goes to 800,000 you sell it, then you've pocketed about 300,000, is it not, traders? And then you get your deposit back as well, right? So that is all good on the upside, okay? So that's what most people will like, the rosy picture when it goes all in your favor. Now, of course, the other thing to always ask yourself when I gave you this example is, if leverage is so then that beautiful, right, that you can really multiply your profits, then why do beginners then lose money in the market then using leverage? And the reason is because they don't look at the downside. What is the downside? What is the worst thing that can then happen? Okay, so the worst thing that can happen is, imagine now this opposite happens. Okay, now the 500,000 now drops to, let's say, half, 250,000. Okay, but you've only put 100,000 deposit. Now the guy who has given you the loan, right? I mean, usually this can happen not really to a large extent in properties, right? But if this happens in the market, so imagine the same principle. Okay, you've put 100,000 in to control a 500,000 pound position. Okay, now what if the $500,000 position now drops to 250,000? What will happen is you will get what we call a margin call. Okay, now what is that margin call? Because you see, the guy who has loaned you that money, right, for 500,000 will say, you know what, I'm not sure if you got enough money to pay me back unless it keeps going down, right? Because you only put 100,000 in, right? And I'm giving you 500,000 pounds worth of money. I'm giving you 400,000 pounds more, right? $400,000 more. But now it's dropped to 250,000, right? So you've only put in 100. So can you please put in the remaining 150,000 so that I can, the person who has given you the money can remain, you know what, at peace. You know what, even if it still goes down, at least he's covered this amount. So this is what we call a margin call, and they will tell you to probably put in a bit more as well. So, and that's the last thing that anybody wants, right? So that is the downside of leverage. So we looked at the upside of leverage and what leverage means. Now we looked at the downside, right? The not so rosy picture, the nightmare of it, right? Then the third thing which will naturally happen is, hey, hang on a minute. In the beginning, when I thought, oh yeah, leverage, you know, can make me all the quick riches and everything, and why do beginners still lose money in the market? Now I've understood what the downside is. Now, how do I overcome this? How do I manage that risk, you know, and not like say, you know what, I don't want to trade at all, I don't want to invest, I'm scared of this. So how do you manage this? The way to manage it is, even though you may put 100,000 to manage a $500,000 position, right? What you do is you can put your stops in place so that by the time it comes down to your technical level or to your stop loss, maybe you have lost only maybe about 50,000, okay? And you've put 100,000 in already, right? So then at that point, what happens is you won't get a margin call because it's still within your deposit point, right? And yes, you lost 50,000 of it, but now you've managed your risk, okay? So you know exactly how much you're going to lose. This is what we call the predetermined risk. And if you saw even on the gold trade that we did just now, we had predetermined everything before we released that signal on Telegram, is it not, traders, right? Your entry, our stop loss, and our target. So by doing that, then you're preserving and protecting your profits, your capital, so that eventually when we get the big runners, okay, then we can push our equity curve to a new high. So that's the whole premise. So for example, here, as I'm waiting for, according to our stats table here, as I'm waiting for the 20% runners to come true, if that's one of your strategy, for it to run to, let's say, 60 pips or 50 pips, right, which is a 30% chance, until I get that swing which runs to 50 pips in one swing, okay, and I know most of them won't do it, but by using all of this in place of risk management and predetermined risk, I can wait and stay in another day until I get that big runner coming true, okay? And how we also then increase our probabilities and our odds so that we're not losing most of the time is by using then both price and volume analysis, which is what we are showing you in real time, and which is what Gavin was showing you also on the Tesla stock just now, and what we also showed you in real time with all the order details all locked in into the Telegram channel as well. Does this, of course, like in anything, traders, no strategy will always be 100% foolproof or 100% reliable. We have taken losses in real time, we've taken profits in real time as well, all documented on the channels and on our accounts, as you have seen before as well, in real time on the right side of the chart as well.
I think that's one of the most important things we do, and it's absolutely vital. Can I show my trading gold? Because
of course. Yeah, I think I finished on the topic already.
I'm just going to quickly show it because I've talked about it. I'm on a 1 minute chart. It's really a short time frame, but I have had some emails, so I'm going to go for it, and I'm quite happy to show this.
Yeah, go for it. I think I finished on the topic, and I say as a recap, I would just say understand what is leverage, understand the good points about leverage, understand the downside of it, and then also see how to manage it, which is with predetermined risk right from the beginning. Okay, and have a strategy that's got a strong edge that can then help you push your equity curve to new highs for the future. All right, Gavin, over to you. I think, are they seeing your screen?
Yeah, just really quickly, because we've got a principle that Tom Williams taught me, and this is why I said that gold was going to go down the toilet. And when I mean that in a nice way, and it's still going. But let's talk about leverage, which is what the subject of this webinar is about. And it's important because there's plenty of stuff on the internet about leverage. You know, I loved Tiru's analogy there, you know, where you've got a lever. Yeah. Now, watch what's about to happen here because of that and that and that and that. Everything's there. This works. And I've got my trend analysis telling me it's down. I'm on phase one. And that's all programmed in to the TradingView platform. Now you're going to see it fall much further, but let's talk about leverage for a minute. When I started in this business 27 years ago, I thought it would be easy to make money. I thought, oh, well, this is not a bad deal. I can make money. I can just click that button and make money. It's going to be easy because I've got leverage. And I can basically borrow money that I don't have. And Tiru described it perfectly, so I don't need to reinvent the wheel. He's absolutely right. And if you're in the financial markets, someone is on the other side. Now, I don't want to focus on that now because Tiru's covered it, I think, in a very professional manner and done a great job. I want you to look at this chart of gold. Now, what have we got? Okay, what we've got is downward pressure. News is good about gold. Everyone's buying it. Are they? Now, we've got two lines designated by the software. Here, I've deliberately taken off the volume so you can just watch price action to see how it works. But it's going to come all the way down to the low. Now, how can I possibly know that? And the trend alignment system, which is built into TradingView, which is what I'm using, and we're using it in the fund, it's going to show you this. And it works. And then you put the SMI indicator over the top there, the selling, no demand. It's going to go right down here. How can that be right? How can I know that? Because I'm getting emails. Watch what's about to happen. And Tiru, give me 5 minutes on this one, because this is going to be another great trade. And why is it a great trade? Because everything is in the background. I've taken the volume off. just to make it simple. But the software hasn't taken it off. That's the great thing. It's computing it, and I've got it on my other computer here. This is about to go down there. And the trend alignment is all in phase one, which means it's weak. Now, please go and look at your charts. We're on the gold contract. It's a futures contract traded on the CME. And Tua and I talked this morning, and we were talking about this, and we're saying, what else can you do? You can't, you know, what else could you do? Well, watch. I make no apologies for this, because it's how the markets, Tom Williams taught me this. Markets move on supply and demand. At the moment, there's too much supply in the market, which means the market has to fall. And I've got everything telling me in the system, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And you can watch it. Oh, no. It's my broker. I'm not going to answer. He's trying to sell me something. Watch. Yeah, he's going to say, buy gold. Yep. Yeah, that's my broker. Because they're seeing it. Because they're saying, well, are you going to buy? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Because what's going to happen here, and it could take a few minutes, and then I'll hand back to Tiru, and he can, because I don't want to overrun, but I'm pretty certain we're going to come down here. And I'd like to see it happen quickly, but of course, the wonderful thing about trading these financial markets is you can't actually try to predict them in minutes or seconds, which I talked to Tiru about. Some people talk about months, years, you know, they say, oh, investment. But here's what I'm pretty certain of. Because of the trend analysis system, because of this price bar, and because of this break of the bar, it's about to go. And I'm 99.9% certain I'm right. But that doesn't make any difference at all. Seriously. Watch. If this bar closes near the low with the next bar down below there, then I'm okay. I've nailed it. I've got it. If it doesn't, and Tiru talked about this, and he was completely right, when you talk about leverages and stuff, well, when you take a trade, you're never going to be 100% right. And isn't that annoying? Because I found that really annoying when I was with Tom Williams, and he said, okay, Gav, right, let's take a trade. And then it went against me. And I went, hold on, I'm wrong. It's not that you're wrong, it's your timing. Probably 99% of the time, you just didn't get the timing right. This timing's going to be good. This thing's going down, okay? Because I know. Now, I know because I've been doing it for a long time. And that's what I teach. You know, you've got to get the timing right. Now, Tiru is a brilliant trader, and I would say a master in many ways. And we look at the markets in different ways. He looks at quants and mathematics and all of that. I don't do that. I look at charts, and that's what I'm seeing right now. Doesn't mean we're wrong, either of us. You've heard him teach that. He's absolutely brilliant. But ultimately, you know, we come to this whole thing with a different perspective. And I know this is going out on YouTube, and I know there's a lot of people going to listen. What's going to happen to this market right now is it's about to collapse, and it's about to fall, and it's going to happen in the next 10 minutes. Now, I don't. You might say to me, how can you possibly even know that? Because I've got the system. And I'm using smart money technology, the SMI, and I'm using volume spread analysis. And it's holding its level because of the support line here. It's trying to find support. But because of the background, which is up here, which has already alerted me to the short, I don't take a view. Now, Tiru, I'm going to ask you a question here. I think it's probably valuable to everyone. When you're in a situation like this, where you've hit a support line in the background and you've clearly got weakness and your SMI indicators are confirming it, what would you do? Would you stay in this trade, which I'm still in it, or would you just say, well, I'm out. I don't want it. I don't want to know.
And Gavin, it all depends on the strategy objectives, right? And your numbers, really. If 60-70% of the time it goes towards your target or your trading stop loss as you've tested it, I will stay in the trade because you're running the numbers, right? Towards your strategy performance. That's the whole premise of this.
Okay. So here it goes. Now, I don't have, statistics or anything like what you've got, but I know it's going to go. But that's probably why we work so well together, because you can give statistics to people and say, oh, okay, yep, you've got to do that, and they love it. And a lot of the traders that I've taught have said, when we've connected with Master Markets and that, there's some sort of logic behind it. There's no logic behind this. This is about to collapse. And you can put mathematical formulas behind it. And Tom Williams would tell me, he'd say, well, don't bother. It doesn't mean it's wrong. This is supply and demand. Supply is overcoming demand. And it's interesting because what I love about the way we work together is that you come from a very quant sort of strategic background, which I think is brilliant, and a lot of people love it. I come from a very simplistic background of Wyckoff, who never used any quants. He never used anything mathematical because he didn't have it. This is about to collapse. Now, whether I'm right or wrong, it's irrelevant. I don't care. Whether you're right or wrong is irrelevant. What is really good, and I think it's really positive, is you come at it at a very quantitative, well, I've learned this. You come from a medical background, some of you know that, and I come from a police background. Bottom line is, I don't care if we're right or wrong. The biggest thing we're teaching you today is how to manage your leverage. Now, if you're going to take a trade in gold right now, and we've got a big audience listening, would you go short or long? Simple question. And we'll probably see the answers. Would you be short or long? And that is a really good question, because then you sort of see what the group are thinking. They go, oh, I'd probably be short. Well, would you? You only could be short based on two principles. Two. But I'm just going to let people type in. Would you be short? Would you be long? And I'll ask Thierry the same thing. I mean, what would you think there? Would you buy this, or would you just stay short? What would you do?
I think, Gavin, that's what we showed on the trend alignment tables. Let me show my screen because
Yeah,
guess,
you take it. No, I'm
because
stopping.
time
Yeah,
running
no,
by us.
well, I think we can stay with it because we've got people that I know that are listening on.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we can always update them through the.
Yeah, I'm fine with it because gold's about to move. It's going to make a big move any minute, and how I know that is because of. Well, I can't say I can't actually say that publicly, but I know it's about to any minute. You're going to see a big move.
I think people also got to understand, as I'm showing the gold chart over here, is this is on the 4-hour time frame.
Yeah,
Also what Gavin is saying also is, there are times also, Gavin, that we have said that, yeah, we are shorting gold. And then, of course, when it shows change in behavior, people got to understand how to flip it as well, right? Because there's been times when you've been shorting it and then it flips and then you're long on that position, right? So I think that's very critical as well for people to understand.
yeah.
When to cut short a position, when to flip a position, and not to just stay in one direction. Actually, we did that yesterday as well when we went live traders. We took a long position first on gold, and then we got stopped out, and then we reversed it to a short when it took another technical level as well. All documented on Telegram, which you can see as well, all based on price and volume analysis. Now, just to wrap up, I was showing this in terms of the tables on the gold chart over here. You can see this is on a gold chart. You can see that once it confirms over here, either on a long or a short, on the phase one trades, okay, it's telling you that to get the 1 ATR level, and what 1 ATR is about on the 4-hour chart, you can get this on any time frame if you want. So you want to do the ATR over here, that's about $20. So to get the $20 from the close, right, it's telling you is about 60% probability. Okay, so that's what it's telling you. But of course, this is a guideline. It's not, as me and Gavin have said, both our packages, right, Trade to Win and the Smart Money Framework indicator, they are not buy and sell indicators. Okay, they are a framework where you can make some really solid strategies and robust strategies from, which will give you a very good edge that will make your results sustainable, scalable, and reproducible. Okay, so that's what you should be really looking at. Right, so these are all the data and everything. I know we are overrun a little bit. We've covered the topic for today as well on leverage. We took a trade on gold as well. So quite a lot of learnings for today, and a lot of learnings also from Gavin's stuff on the lower time frame, where he's taking and keeping an eye on gold to take out those levels. Okay, the next level, what we are looking at is 3718. Let's see if it does take out the low of yesterday. Okay, once it takes out that trigger lines that Gavin was talking about. Just as a recap on all the links, 7 steps to CTP, that's the first one. After you put your contact details, you get your 7 videos, go through all of this. Highly, highly recommended, traders. I can't reiterate it enough. OE, MAE, and time to. You will see it's a lot of clients who have come through us, thousands and thousands, both through our companies, have got so much conviction after they have gone through all this material.
Brilliant.
After this, also, we will look at, if you want to get the indicators both onto your screen, SMI and VSA page is the one. Look through it, get your indicators onto there, and then you will have both of it sitting in just nicely, just like what we got over here, and then you can then make your analysis a bit more stronger. Okay, that's how you can definitely do that. That's on getting the both indicators. Go onto this page over here. YouTube channel, if you want to revisit some of the videos, youtube.com/master the markets. Second one here is youtube.com/trade guider. As I said, after you click on subscribe, click on the all bell icon. So in that way, what will happen is that you will actually get the notifications when we actually go live. Okay, so those are the ones over here. And then after that, Trade Nation, a quick shout out to Trade Nation, who's also sponsoring our ETM annual summit as well. Okay, if you want to open up a broker account with them, you can find out more on the Telegram channel, and you can then take the necessary steps over there. Now, the other thing is the ETM annual summit, as we were talking about. It's the dates are a little bit changed, just 1 week later on the 17th and 18th. It's in a much more central venue right now in Liverpool Street, easier for people to get in as well. And it's going to be in the Trade Nation offices. Okay, so that's going to be great. And also there's going to be beautiful places around there where we're going to be going for dinner as well in the beautiful buildings over there. We'll inform you all the details very shortly. In terms of what's going to happen over the 2 days, the first day is going to be live trading, all right? And then we're also going to be talking about how we constructed the intraday strategies and what is the edge behind them, using price and volume analysis also, okay? And how you can actually apply it yourself. Also, we're going to be taking a look at the research updates as well over the 2 days, and also some of our clients, Trade Guider and Master the Markets, are going to be presenting some of the research updates that we have guided them along to, okay, on basically on how do you capture a 15-minute bottom that will become a weekly 1-hour bottom, daily 4-hour daily bottom and weekly bottom. And then we're also going to be taking a look at also the bar analysis studies as well, which I just briefly touched on just now, and many more. Okay, we're going to be updating you all on that. It's going to be really exciting. And also, it's a great way to meet all the other inspiring, committed traders as well, who's flying in from different parts of the world. And it's a really amazing way to energize and re-inspire ourselves before we go into the new year. As we mentioned just now, over the 2 days there will be lunch, and on the first day there will be dinner as well. And both me and Gavin will be there, and we look forward to seeing you. I think that's pretty much that from us traders. I know Gavin is on a gold trade. Gavin, will keep an eye on that, and then we'll send out an email to the people on the updates on that. Other than that, as we always say, traders, till the next time, stay disciplined, follow your trading plan, and keep trading like a master. Take care and bye for now.
Bye bye.